This is a Two Front podcast.
I'm a recovering people pleaser and a recovering overthinker. No one would have ever thought that I am unhappy. I've been living with chronic health issues since I was 12 years old. My son came early. He had 6 surgeries his first year of life. I had to manage 9 doctors on top of being a dentist. And I think I lost Layla. So I went to therapy because my husband suggested it, and that was a rough conversation.
Wow, he's a brave man.
The trajectory was life is shitty and you don't realize you're losing yourself until you find yourself.
So sometimes being selfish is being selfless.
If I do not keep 20% for myself every single day, I can't be the truest version of myself and be present.
I just want to harp on the dental professionals that are listening. Be preventative with your mental health. It's like we talk about dental hygiene, but let's talk about mental hygiene as well.
We say we don't have time, and worrying costs you the one thing you can't get back, which is time.
You got a crooked smile, well that don't bother me much. You double over, working double time, you double tough. I'll just shine it up until the sun hit like a glare. I gotta dare, get the fuck up out the chair.
Welcome back to The Happy Dentist. Today, I'm so excited to have Dr. Layla Lohmann on our show, mother of 2, practicing dentist, supporter of 56 practices in and around the Dallas area, supporting over 800 team members. Layla, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me. I wanted to clarify, we are actually in 8 locations in 8 different states, but we do support 56 practices.
Wow.
Thank you for having me.
Amazing.
Wow. So I need to tell a quick story before we get into this, which is the reason that I'm so excited about this episode is because, first of all, Layla and I met through a work relationship through Two Front. And then we started to talk about the Happy Dentist. And Layla emails me and goes, "Oh my God, I am the Happy Dentist." And we go on to hop on a call, and she shares her whole story about how she was not the happy dentist for the longest time. And in my interpretation, had a come to Jesus moment and you shared all of your learnings about why and how you were able to overcome what I would hypothesize most dentists, the state that most dentists are in, and the whole reason that we started this passion project turned podcast. So Layla, I'm so excited, and I want to dive into everything today so that our listeners can benefit from your story and your learning. So why don't we start with your story?
Okay. Well, that's a really long story, but I have learned to become more concise with communication skills. So anybody who has met me throughout my entire life would have considered me happy. I'm a twin. I have a sister who's 16, 18 months older than me, and no one would have ever thought that I am unhappy. So I'm a recovering people pleaser and a recovering overthinker. And the reason I say that is because I thought happiness was what we traditionally thought it was. And I was making other people happy to be fulfilled. And it was really eye-opening to me over my 10-year journey. My son I've been living with chronic health issues since I was 12 years old. I have thyroid eye disease and Graves' disease, and everyone always told me I just had dry eyes. And so people minimized my conditions when I was younger, so I minimized them. And then I've been with my husband for 21 years, and I got pregnant. And in 2015, they told me I have thyroid eye disease, and I laughed at them because I don't have thyroids. I had them taken out in 2000. And it was that journey, that pregnancy, took me to who I am today. So during my pregnancy, I had bad health conditions, and then my son came early, and he had 6 surgeries his first year of life, and I had to manage 9 doctors on top of being a dentist, on top of being a wife. And I think I lost Layla, and I think everyone loses themselves at some point and they don't realize it. So I went to therapy because my husband suggested it, and that was a rough conversation.
Wow, he's a brave man.
For real?
He was. It was not easy. It was probably one of the toughest times in our marriage because suggesting someone to go to therapy is not easy. I went because my son had health issues and I blamed myself because I carried the kid. I stayed because it was so helpful to me and be able to compartmentalize and talk to somebody who's unbiased, doesn't know Dr. Lohmann, doesn't know Layla the mom, she is getting to know Layla. And that was really uncomfortable because there was a lot of work that you had to do. And over the time after 2020 in our organization, it was like a tumultuous time, especially in a DSO space. And I realized we could lose everything because I mean, I think everyone kind of had a oh shit moment.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh my gosh, I have to be a better clinician because this is the job for my life. The DSO is, a passion project for us. And it was there that I took the journey to understand like self awareness, self discovery, being a proactive healthcare professional, and then guiding leaders. And so, like, the trajectory was life is shitty and you just try to minimize and manage your conditions and you don't realize you're losing yourself until you find yourself. And then when you find yourself, you want to share that with people because everyone is dealing with that. So that's a long winded way of saying for 40 years, when you know better, you do better. Maya Angelou said it best. And so every time I learn to do better, I continue to hold myself accountable to those standards before I hold other people accountable.
Let me ask you this because, I live in the mental health space and people ask me this question all the time. So I'd love to get your opinion on it is, do you think people need to hit some kind of rock bottom or some kind of low point in order to hurt enough to make a change?
I think it's a red flag and a trigger. Like, I think the rock bottom is for you to be like, oh my gosh, this is compiling it. But a lot of us minimize all of our issues till we hit rock bottom. So one of the things is I don't necessarily think rock bottom is the time to make that improvement. I think it's when you start feeling that elephant on your chest, like when you start feeling those like physical manifestations of stress that you need to be that your red sign because rock bottom is hard to come back and it takes so much time that most people fail within 3 years because you're just like, well, it's easier doing it the old way. So I do think most people make improvements at rock bottom, but my hope is that when you share like all of our stories is like, hey, rock bottom is different. Like, let's not go to rock bottom. Let's like be swimming like
That's what I'm always trying to convince people. It's like, especially with dentists, we're so preventative in our lives or in our profession. We're like, let's find it when it's a small little cavity. Let's not wait until it gets to the DEJ, or let's do it when you're a kid. Let's do ortho and then you can prevent it, right? But with our own lives, we wait until our own lives are a full mouth rehabilitation with zygomas and sinus lifts and orthodontic surgery. And so I just want to like harp on the dental professionals that are listening. Don't wait until it hurts so much that you have to make a change. Be preventative with your mental health. It's like we talk about dental hygiene, but let's talk about mental hygiene as well.
I was just talking to one of our dentists who was like, it really kind of gave me perspective. He's like, I'm gonna die in early life, but I will give everything to my patients. And it really hit me that we have this, like, we do have this martyr mentality. That's my parents were doctors, and they had this martyr mentality growing up. And I think that we think that that's okay. I think we think we're gonna give ourselves to our patients, and it's okay because I'm giving, but it doesn't have to be that way. And so I'm curious if you think, like, is that a transition? Is it a transition from, like, martyr mentality? Like, can you be a good dentist without having a martyr mentality?
That's super interesting that you said that because I wouldn't have even put the word martyr. I would think that we would say need to be seen as like a professional, need to be seen as the best mom, need to be seen as, and like,
Mhm.
so inward and outward mindset is one of the programs from the guiding leaders that gave me my aha moment. It's basically when you're overthinking things, and that's one of the boxes is needs to be seen as. And then your
Mm.
self view is either being judged, being at risk, or oh, what was the other one? But basically, it was like you just need to be seen as. And so it actually puts a huge burden that you need to rise to the occasion. So the martyr is a perfect word to explain it, but we're human. And I think that we dehumanize ourselves because of being a proactive healthcare professional or being a restorative doctor, or I'm giving everything to my patients. What I learned 2 years ago was if I do not keep 20% for myself every single day, I can't be the truest version of myself and be present. And so I don't give everybody everything anymore. I used to the same thing. So it's to you, Dr. Stanley.
Please
I
call me
stopped
Kyle.
convincing
Please don't call
people.
me Dr. Stan.
Kyle, Kyle. Uh, I stopped convincing myself I needed to be this person everyone needed me to be. So I don't even convince people anymore. I have conversations in dentistry, in mental health, and I hope that it plants a seed for them to water. I used to be worrying about watering it for them, and I don't do that anymore. That's how I keep 20% all the time.
I was the same way. I used to think that giving everything was what everyone's supposed to do, and that's what is virtuous and that's what is just. And then I realized that if you give everything to everyone else, you can't be your best person. So you can't actually take care of those people well. It's like you can't be
Exactly.
the mom or the dad or the wife or the husband or the whatever friend or the neighbor or whatever, or the dentist or the leader if you're not in the right position. Like the better you are, the better you can take care of people. And so sometimes being selfish is being selfless because you're going to help these other people so much more.
Yeah, but it's also self-care mentally. You're caring for yourself just as much as you care with others. So I used to think I had a hamster in my head, always spinning wheels, like, oh, I'm going to drop this, or oh, I got to eat this. I didn't realize that was driving me. And the mental health component was so key because it was like, I'm actually the driver. I can tell the hamster to get
Yeah.
off, and I have to be present. And it's super powerful, but very uncomfortable because it's not a natural state for us. To your point, all of us care about other people. Let's say, take the dentist aside. We were kids once, we cared about our parents. We were, teenagers, we cared about our friends. We're college, we cared about our future. We're now in our 40s, we care about the humans we created, the people in our lives. We're constantly caring about other people, and then we want them to care for us and then get disappointed when they don't do it the way we wanted. That you should care for yourself before you expect it. Like, how is someone supposed to care for you if you don't even take care of yourself? So, to your point, you lose that because we're raised to care about what other people think about us. So it's the fear of like what you think about me, what I'm saying. Are you going to judge me? I used to like go in my head in conversations with an answer with what I thought your problem was before you told me your problem. That was exhausting.
I really like that you call it being in fear because I kind of I realized that I recognized that in my mid 30s that I had never recognized that before. And I was like, oh my God, I'm operating from fear. Like, I'm never going to be happy if I'm operating from this position. I've got, you know that sinking feeling when the same patient keeps coming back for crown after crown? Yeah, we've all been there. Here's the thing. What if we could actually prevent all that mess with a simple bite correction? That's where we come in at Two Front. We handle the whole Invisalign process for you. I'm talking zero ClinChecks, zero lab bills, barely any chair time. Oh, and we take on the liability too. Your patient gets a healthy bite that'll save them thousands down the road. You get to be the hero who prevented years of dental drama. It's honestly a no-brainer. Check out Two Front and start helping your patients dodge a lifetime of dental work today. A question for you, which is that I think that not only, so being a healthcare provider, by definition, because we're helping other people, I think it naturally puts us in this position of being a martyr. I think being a woman makes it even harder. And I'll tell you what I experienced. And I'm curious if you think that this is, a me thing or like if you've seen this in your experience. Part of being a martyr for me, Kyle and I have talked about this, is I thought that because, I wanted to be the best clinician, I wanted to be the best, everything, I was going to sacrifice myself, including taking care of myself physically. So it wasn't until a couple years ago that I was like, okay, I'm going to put on makeup, I'm going to do my hair, I'm going to get my nails done. Before I thought that those were kind of like for other people, not for me, not for clinicians. Right? And, like, it hit me that that was me being a martyr. That was me being like, "I don't have time for me, I'm gonna do this for other people." And so I'm curious if you've experienced that as a woman, all the women in your organization, if you think that's something that y is it something you've seen?
That's a really loaded question. That's a really loaded question. Well, first, I want to address the fear part, because I think it attaches to the guilt part of giving to others and then not yourself. So I read something the other day where it said fear is one of two things. It's fear is fear everything and ruin, or you can face everything and rise. So actually, fear is a healthy thing. Like, it's supposed to give your body that, like, hey, pay attention. Like we make it negative. But really, fear is like pushing you to be uncomfortable. And to your point, it used to scare me. It still does. But I have figured out that guilt, shame, and blame is the most destructive neural pathway for me. And it doesn't serve me. So I think many women, many healthcare professionals, many moms, many dads, we all operate from feeling guilty. Like when I come home, did I give my kids everything? Did I do everything to help them be the person they're supposed to be so they can be like have a healthier mind than me? Well, I operated from a place of depletion. So your martyrdom is not something that's uncommon. It's something we're taught to do to help others. And just like the Kyle said, like we're raised to care about other people. Why are we not raised in accepting to care about ourselves, not in a bad way? Like I understand when I go overboard, like my husband tells me, oh, we're getting another one of those. I used to think that I was judgment. I no longer allow that thought process. And I said, absolutely, because you have me all weekend. So I don't let it destroy all the good that I've been thinking, even though he didn't operate it on the level of being rude. He was just trying to be joking. I would have changed that old version of me, would have been like, he's judging me. I shouldn't be spending that much money. I should be doing this. And all of those should, would, could is a really destructive pattern for me. So I now say, if I say anything to justify myself, take a minute, smile, and like change. I have to like physically change my physical reactions. And I still struggle with it today because I've only been on this path for about 2 years since I had my aha moment.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda is something that I heard once, and that's what you just said, should, would, could, and that hit me so hard. Like, oh, I should have done that. I could have done that. Like, that's all hurting us. What's the point? It's gone. Now is the present, right? Like,
My partner in my Light Side Life courses, he says, "Don't shit all over yourself." I love that.
I do like that because you will know what it does is it makes you doubt yourself, and doubt makes you operate from a place of limiting thoughts. So why doubt yourself? Like you can't change what I just said. I can't change what you just thought about me. I can only move forward, create those conversations and allow you to ask what you need next. And so I don't create stories anymore. I ask questions and I come from a place of curiosity, which reduces the burden of me and my energy going to you. I'm like, I can feel it. Like I can feel my like shoulders tense up because of inward and outward mindset. I can feel those things. I'm like, Layla, operate from curiosity because you're about to go ape shit on this person. Like I'm about to lose it. Like they're not doing their job. I'm like, oh, they're not doing their job is justification. Okay. Help me understand. And it's all their bullshit too about like gentle parenting versus leather parenting. There's a happy medium to figuring it out, but you have to realize your impact. If you don't and you operate like changing other people, that's inward. I'm not seeing you as a human. I'm seeing you as an object, obstacle, or irrelevant, and I'm going to figure my way out of this. That's inward mindset. I operate
mm,
now over 2 years from an outward perspective, but it's very fluid because I'm human and I go inward all the time. So now I'll do this because my team knows the language I use. I'll go when I go to work and they're like, oh, okay. So my kid was sick, kept me up all night. This I have to operate because my patients need me and I need to be here. So my team knows I don't have niceties. Doesn't mean I'm being a
mm.
bitch. Doesn't mean I'm being rude. I'm like, inbox, what am I here for? Patience. Team has my back. I'm not in my inbox all the time, but this is my communication. So,
What I like about what you just said is that you're being present, meaning when you're at
Mhm.
home, you're with your kids and you're present there, you're not thinking about your practice. But when you're in your practice, you're there. You're a dentist now. You're not a mom anymore, right? At that point, it's
yep.
patience. And I think the problem that I experience and that, the thousands of dentists that I've trained have experienced too is trying to be both all the time is what causes this burnout. When you're in your practice, you're working on that patient, you're thinking, oh, my kid's doing this, or my husband or wife is doing this, or I have to do this at home when I get home. That's very challenging. And the same thing when you're at home and you're making dinner and you're, wiping someone's butt and you're whatever, cleaning the kitchen and you're thinking, oh my gosh, Mrs. Jones is coming in tomorrow. Is the lab case here? That's what causes so much burnout, is when we're stretched so far trying to be in both places at once. So I love that you said that you're living in the present moment. I mean, that is such a big change.
Thank you. But let's add one more layer. When you're trying to be an entrepreneur, you have to decide, where am I going to not give all my
Yeah.
effort? So, to your point, my practice and my mom, but sometimes Apex Dental Partners comes home because I'm trying to grow an organization that supports 800 employees and 800 team members. And so I have decided, I have made a choice to put this into our lives because I think it's going to be helpful. But that means that I do have to balance the mom part a little bit more, because I will try to bring, like, I do leadership and development in our organization now. And so what to bring that, I have to have time for creativity. And Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm in practice. Thursday, Friday, I'm operating from here. It's not a lot of time. So to your point, adding another layer, if you want to choose to be an entrepreneur, you have to choose to be not perfect at everything. And here's the part that's so freeing for me. I no longer see perfection as a realistic expectation for myself. I continue to operate from a level of improvement, even when I go down like my inward thoughts of like something that happened at home recently. Husband and I had a conversation that really was a big trigger of mine that made me doubt myself, not what he said. What I went into my head. And it took me about a week to like stop overthinking and then go back to a healthy pathway. And then I operate from, I was doing my best. We just had a like rough week. And the thing is the other person goes the whole week and it didn't even bother them, like, at all. Like, at all. I'm looking over here going, was that not important to you? And I'm like, oh, that's asking questions that I can't get a good answer. Like,
It's a journey. It's a journey. And I also like how I think the key thing that Kyle taught me and like you're talking about is just self-awareness. The fact that you're able to do this, like that just shows that you're self-aware. Like instead of like releasing on someone, right? Like you're stressed, whatever, and then you're gonna like release your frustration. Oh my God, I'm humiliated by before my era of self-awareness, the way I treated people when I was stressed, and I justified it, right? We're running out of money. We're like whatever. They're not doing their job. All the reasons in my head was justified. But to your point, that's not being self-aware, and it's inward versus outward behavior. And like I think that concept, I just want to double down on it because I mean, I would assume, Kyle, you would probably know the best out of all of us. I would assume most dentists don't understand that concept and they continue to justify that behavior. We're all stressed. Everyone's stressed, right? And we take it on our staff. But if we kind of internalize that concept that you just communicated, it's like life changing.
Not just dentists, it's people. And it's
yeah,
basically you can summarize it by, there's a Viktor Frankl slash Stephen Covey quote where it is, the space between stimulus and the response is where you get all your growth.
Mm.
And just like you were saying, Ingrid, you look back and say, gosh, all these people that I was just so reactive with, I was the same way. But when I went through burnout too, before I went on my personal growth journey, I didn't even realize that you could control your emotions or control how you react. I was like, well, they made me mad, so that's why I reacted like that. No, it's like no one can make you mad. You can only make yourself mad. So it's having the
yeah,
stimulus, and it's just like what Layla said, right? She takes a minute a little bit and realizes, I decide how I'm going to respond right now. You live between that stimulus and response, and then you say, how am I going to respond that's best going to serve me in this situation to keep this going forward? And it is a skill
yeah,
like anything else. It is a skill like prepping a crown, placing an implant, doing ortho, doing a sinus lift, anything. And we dentists think that skills are only with our hands, but skills are with
yeah.
our brains. It's what is between our ears, what comes out of our mouth. So it's not something that's easy. I've been on this journey now for 8 years, and it's still challenging. I've gotten way better. My stimulus and the response used to be immediate, and then it was 2 seconds. And now I can just chill for a little bit. But still, I mean, I have times where I can't control it.
No, but to your point, well, two things. One, I didn't come through the inward outward mindset without the Arbinger Institute and that 16-hour program. So, like, there are programs out there to help you do it, but you have to be open
Yeah, you
to
have to have the
being
awareness.
not
Yeah.
going in your own
Mhm.
head, right? You have to be open. So you have to choose to do it, which is why you always put a financial component to it. Because if you put an investment, you then find value. It's so funny. Every time I've done anything for free, people are freaked out. Okay, $5?
Yeah.
100? What do you want me? What do you want me to say? No, business is business. But to your point, you do have to be working on it. Your brain is a muscle. It is literally the biggest operating muscle in your entire body because if it does not function, so why are we not treating it to those times? And it's because the perceived lack of time.
Mhm.
It's not
Mm.
lack of time, it's perceived because you decide your priorities and own it.
What did someone once say? I think they said, like, "We have the same amount of hours that Beyoncé has in a day, so it's up to us how we spend our time," right? Layla,
Yeah.
you and I share something in common, which is that we both run big organizations with our partners. I'm curious how you navigate that. It's obviously challenging. You guys have an additional layer, which is kids. We don't have this yet. How do you manage running both your personal life and your professional life with your husband? I'd love to hear any tips.
Oh, this is interesting. So our organization is 10 years old. So the first 8 years, I trusted that he was going to do what we needed to do to be successful. The way he told me about this journey was, hey, this is high risk, high reward. And I was like, well, am I still going to be a dentist after this? Like, what could go wrong for me? Like, what's in it for me? He's like, well, no, like I'm gonna get out of private equity. We're gonna lose, that level of income for a few years. I was like, but I can still be a dentist, right? He's like, yes. What is wrong with you? So first, that conversation was just like, what are we doing? I've never been an entrepreneur. I was a healthcare professional, and they always taught me in healthcare, business shouldn't follow healthcare, which is also not true. I'm just gonna say one thing, and then we'll go back to this. But having patients accept the care you prescribe makes you become profitable because your case acceptance goes up and then that profitability follows. So being a proactive healthcare professional will give you profitability in the healthy way. They don't teach you that in no school. Now let me go back to David. I had to separate it. He was not the one who could talk to me about what I was doing wrong because it felt very uncomfortable about business and healthcare. So like the first probably 4 to 5 years, he was not someone that I could talk to about business because I emotionally brought in our
He's not a
relationship
dentist, just to
because I love
verify, right?
him.
Yeah.
No, he's not a dentist. Business. Yeah. Private equity and banking and then entrepreneur in
Mhm.
2014. So yeah. So he came and operated from like money, money, money. And if you talk disc, like communication styles, he's a D and I'm an I. Like he's 90% D and I'm 98% I. So he
Mm.
comes from an operating of tasks and I'm cut from an operating on people. So we miscommunicated quite a bit. Okay. So that was 8 years into it. Honestly, I feared not knowing enough about business that when I talked to him and how smart he was, I was fearful of judgment because he would say something to me and I'd be like, oh my God, he said that. It made me sound stupid. And I created all these stories. So 4 years ago, 5 years ago now, it was partly me. I didn't invite those conversations because I didn't want to be looked as dumb. And I also was like, I need to be seen as the doctor, or I need to be seen as the best wife. Now that I know the language from inward and outward mindset, like I can hindsight's 2020. So our relationship over the last 4 years, where the only thing that has changed is me working on myself, has been night and day difference because of what I brought to the table and what I impacted it. So now I can come from a space of asking a question in business without fear of being judged. um, if I don't know something, I tell people math is not a talent of mine. I just hate math. Like, fucking hate it. So, like, if you put numbers in front of me, I'm gonna just assume they're right. And then, like, I used to operate being like, we'll give you 30% off. Or I'll say, like, it was $1,500 crown. I'll be like, we'll do it for 900. And David's like, do you understand what you just did? Like, did you even think about your margins? And I'm like, my patient said yes. He was like, come on, what is wrong with you? So I would say from my perspective, not his is a different story. Um, Stopping destructive thoughts when I had conversations on business was probably the most empowering part of this because it invited and created a space enough for him to have a safe conversation without me losing my shit. Like your stimulus and response. I used to do that same thing.
Immediate.
How many of us, yeah, right? How many of us agitate bond? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It's 20
Yeah.
seconds. Let's all pause for 10, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could have had 5 breaths between there. I'm only at 5 seconds. We all think time is passing us by, but that was 10 seconds that I could have taken a breath. And like we say, we don't have time. We just let time pass us by because we're constantly worried, and worrying costs you the one thing you can't get back, which is time.
I'd love to get your
Wow.
experience. So you did the Guiding Leaders program, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm doing a special program with them right now with mental health and working with the whole team at Glidewell.
I saw it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm interested in your experience with that. Maybe you could explain it a little bit for those that don't know. I of course know, and I think Ingrid knows too, but also how you think having like-minded community impacted your personal growth journey.
That's a good one. Well, Guiding Leaders is a professional program. I told Stephanie 2 years ago to make it a master's in leadership
This is the
administration
CEO of Glidewell,
because,
by the way, the biggest dental lab in the world.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, thank you for the clarification. But when I went through that, I had to go tell my husband, I'm going to leave 2 days, 3 days every single month for 6 months with my kid that was 4 and 8 at the time. And he was like, do you want to do this? And I was like, yeah, I think I need it. I didn't realize I was thinking about burnout. To be honest, I was like, what's
Yeah.
next?
Looking for an
I don't
opportunity.
think I operate. Yeah. So I was like seeking, like, what do I do next? I'm tired of patients taking all my energy. I'm tired of my team taking all my energy. Them. Like, like, I operated from that and like all in my head, right? Like you got like Layla. She was so cheerful. She was always giving everyone her energy. That's old Layla. New Layla operates from like keeping my energy, sprinkling it here and there. So the Guiding Leaders came about. He accepted it. We had our conversations because it takes a village to do things like this. So if you don't have a support system, find a support system. It doesn't have to be family. Family is people who you choose. So stop operating of being a burden. They will tell you if you're a burden. And if they don't, then they're inward, right? Like you can't operate. You have to conversate. So the Guiding Leaders was my trigger. And the first thing was inward outward mindset.
Well, I want to make sure that people understand the program. So for people that don't understand this program or haven't heard of this, it's an all-female group run.
It's now
Oh, it
including
is.
men.
Oh, this has changed then recently.
This is the first year where they've included men because they're supporters of
Yeah.
women and everyone should
Aha.
feel this knowledge.
Okay.
So
So
this
initially it was all female group that was focused on non-dental stuff, right? And it was run by the CEO of Glidewell. She's a total badass. We've had her on the Happy Dentist before, so make sure you listen to that episode. And I know a lot of my colleagues that have come out of there and it's completely changed their life. And I think that you're the same
Yeah.
way.
So she did sprinkle in some dentistry, like photography, but these are all skills that you could use beyond the chair. So she did a personal and professional program to help empower you to be who you want to be next. And it invited people to go from different trajectories. Business owners, single practices, group practices. She provides opportunities, but she makes sure that you learn to be open to the door, not pay attention to the closed door, but like stop focusing on the closed door and why is it not opening? Like take a minute is see if that's open, like take an action. So there's so many pathways in life that you're like, well, I want to take Layla's pathway. That's definitely not the right pathway for you because you're not in my circumstances, but you can take this first step. What put you in that pathway? And it was investing 6 months of my life to be a truer version of myself. And then I took that and I said, why am I not doing this for our dental support organization? How can I get our 115 doctors this level of awareness? And so I have brought that Guiding Leaders with the support from our vendors. So our vendors have helped me support this initiative, which is non-clinical. It is personal. It humanizes vendors And it creates true partnerships which I believe is sustainable growth. Because like in a partnership, you don't divorce the first time you get mad. How many doctors switch labs the like third time the open margin
Yeah.
happens?
Bingo.
Like I
Yeah.
did it. I was like,
Yep.
fuck it. They're the
I'm the
worst.
clinical director of a very big lab, so I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I am trying to change what partnership looks like. And I have an organization that's at my hands and I'm gonna fail, but I feel like that's great because I can learn from those things. Cause if I got everything right the first time, you know how big my head would be?
You said something that I thought was interesting. You said knowing that that door is open and being willing to maybe step through it. I know that you guys use Pearl and have used Pearl for a long time, which is the company that I co-founded.
Yeah.
So you're early on technology as well. What is your thoughts on
Yes.
incorporating technology into practices, and how do you think that impacts doctors and patients?
I think it's huge. I think to, quote Ingrid, like we all think we have to be martyrs and perfect at everything. First, no, we're not. But second, technology can detect things so much quicker than us that it allows us to be the best version of ourselves. So I leverage technology because it can catch things 10 times quicker than our naked eye. Like they traditionally taught me to be able to see 30 to 50 shades of gray. The AI does it 500 times quicker. For being a proactive person where prevention is the best cure, you can use technology and never take away your critical thinking, never think it's going to, one of my doctors said, I cut into a tooth we use Pearl, but AI, and it wasn't there. And I said, how many times have you opened up a tooth with traditional x-rays and it wasn't there? And first of all, if they tell me none, then they haven't been practicing long enough. So, but then if they say, oh, and I said, what I think through prevention is if you catch things that were traditionally DOs using therapies available to you today, like Curodont, silver diamine, nano silver fluoride, like all the things, if you use those things effectively, you build trust and value by leveraging technology because I would have never caught it that quickly. So we adopted it because, first of all, in a DSO, efficiency time people like right everybody wants time back, so we use AI and we are we were 22 adopters, and the first pilot flunked and it was in my practice, which is very humbling to say. And now it was really bad. I was like, this sucks, like this. I now tell people technology takes 3 to 12 weeks based on you, whether you're going to completely adopt it.
A really
'Cause
good point. I
now
know Ingrid, that speaks to you too, right?
It's
it's really hard, man.
Layla, I'd love to hear because you went from being at a single practice to now over 50. And we obviously, something we talk about all the time in this podcast is loneliness is a huge epidemic in our industry. Also, the fact what we were talking about at the beginning of this podcast, which is that you had this fear in this relationship with your husband of like, I don't know business as well as he does, so I don't want to talk about it. I think that's prevalent in all healthcare providers. I know it was for me. And I think part of that, like fear of business, is actually fear of vendor partnerships and feeling like, people are going to like take something from you. And it's been like the biggest, I still have a dad, like my dad's a neurologist and he runs a practice all on his own. Like he does not have anyone helping him. And it is my biggest epiphany that like vendor partnerships are what give you your time back. So I'm curious what that transition was for you from like fearing business. Maybe you didn't exactly say that, but like not really, embracing it to like really embracing vendor partnerships.
I would say first I realized what a partner was is goes two ways.
Mm.
And I think that I feared when things went wrong, I had to deal with it and the partner wasn't there. So I'm like, well, then my way's right. So it's like I ultimately always had like a mental roadblock when people were trying to help me because I'm like, you're not the one who's going to fix it when the patient's mad, or you're not the one who's going to be, if you use Two Front, your company, where we're talking about potential collaboration. Well, when that goes wrong, I'm going to have to deal with the problems. Well, I. Okay. Already inward. Like Arbinger Stew. I'm already inward. If you say I 17 times, like Nothing anyone does. So what I found was I wanted to leverage our vendors who I was already spending $30,000 with, $400,000 with. And I was like, what can I do to continue to support you and already using your products? And how can I get support for non-clinical leadership and personal development? And people like Ivoclar and Glidewell, a Hugh Freedy Group, Align, those people said yes to an idea before I could show proof of concept. And then a lot of money. Like they supported me with a lot of support financially and non-financially. And we grew almost 10%, if not 20 with some, and almost 400% with another. And I know that's such a broad range, but like I think growth is, as long as we're going here, we're good. And if we go here, we have conversations. And then if we go here, we have some other conversations. And then maybe we're not good partners anymore. Maybe we're in two different pathways. And if we can leave each other professionally, because it's a small world, then we come and operate from a place of not, well, you didn't do your job. Well, you guys didn't do your job. And I think DSOs is supported dentistry. We're not a service. I think doctors and team members and everyone thinks like we're a service. We're supposed to fix everything. So take service out. Vendors support initiatives to deliver on your patient promises every day. Why are we not good partners?
It's great to hear that you're getting the support for non-clinical stuff, because I know that when I first started talking about mental health and dentistry in 2018, it was very challenging to get any support. So, I'm a speaker. I speak 30 times a year. People would invite me to speak. And I would say, these are my topics. This mental health topic is really, really great and really powerful. They're like, oh, can you talk about your implant research, or can you talk about your digital smile design research? We can't get any support from that. But I'll tell you, that has changed. And really, in the
Mhm.
last like 2.5 years, there's a lot more support going into non-clinical efforts, because it's exactly what you said. It's great PR for these companies that I'm going to support you as a human, not just if you sell all these aligners or do all these implants, right? You are a human and I'm here to support you. And it's been awesome to see that in the industry. So I'm so glad that they're supporting all your initiatives that you're doing with your doctors.
Yeah, I get told no all the time,
Yeah.
by the way. Like, let's just be full, like full
Yes, yes, yes. It's
disclosure.
not all the time, but
I
it's better,
now,
right?
and it is better. And I also think not yet.
Mm.
So as I've been growing in my own journey, I don't think no as like, Layla, they don't like you. No, they're not saying it. I think, especially with my executive coaching, like again, coaches need coaches. So I'll say something like, they said no again. And they're like, not yet, Layla. I'm like, not yet. Okay. Now you say, what about this are you not happy with? Or what about this? I ask, what does success look like? So anytime I get support, I ask, what does success look like for your organization? Like your people who you're going to have to answer to. And they're like, growth. And no one would give me a number. And then most people said 10%. I said, well, what if I don't meet that 10%? Are you going to like stop supporting me? Like I have all those transparent conversations now. And I will tell you, Ingrid, last 2 years when I became vendor relationship manager, which I didn't even want that hat, I like operated from like, oh shit, I'm depleting. All these vendors want to do this. So now I'm like, all right, like the pearls, like all the other AI companies that are coming, like, hey, you're doing great things within initiative, like AI. What can you come talk to me? I'm like, unfortunately, you didn't adopt early. So I'm gonna have to say no until Pearl and I part ways. And I will always give Pearl the first right of refusal or the first right to say, no, we can't support that initiative before I go to another vendor. That's what a good
Right.
partner does, is like have this really hard conversation. So I do think it is better. And I do think they're doing that.
You're dropping so many like pearls, no pun intended, so many pearls of wisdom. Truly, like this is why I was so excited about our conversation. And like what I gather from you, this is actually really similar to our podcast a couple days ago, Kyle. Like your mindset like shifted from one of fear to one of abundance. And when you are open to partnerships, you are literally open to abundance. That's something that I kind of figured out a couple, like maybe 2 years ago, honestly, like not that long ago. And it really made me realize, like, this is why capitalism literally works, right? Because in collaboration, people do better things together. And so I just think it's like really cool for our listeners. Like we have so many dentists from all over the US and it's all over the world, honestly. It's super, super cool. It's something that I just hope people take away that like business is good. Business, it can be good, right? It can be used for bad, but like you have discovered in your organization that you can leverage business for good ultimately to best service your patients, right?
And best service me. I have a job. You have to pay for me. Like, I'm sorry. If you don't want to, I'm happy to talk to you. Like, I gave you this hour for free. Like that's what we do. That's what a partnership does. That's what sharing your story is the biggest impact. I don't have to monetize everything, but if it's going to take away from my family, if it's going to take away from some of these other things, I have to put a number to my time. And I talked to my husband about this because he gets paid a crazy amount per hour just because he's like CEO of a DSO. He's done it right. He's super smart. Like he's crazy smart. It's actually like semi-intimidating. And like, for real, I'm like, oh God, I knew you at 19. This was not you at 19. It's really real mind fuck, right? Like I knew you before you were you. Like, what the hell?
I love
So
that.
when you operate from that close-minded, like fear of judgment, fear of that, and you don't have the tool to do it, you have to invest in time. And like you said, Kyle, it takes time. It's really easy to go back to old version of Layla. Like really, like she did it for 38 years. Like she's good at that, but she wants to be good at this. And I can see how much more is open to me. Like I see more open doors and I have to learn to not walk into them too quickly because then I won't meet my partnerships. Like I might have caused some of the ripple of miscommunication because I'm like, yes, yes, yes. Okay. So you have to operate from a balance of yes and no. But business is good.
I know that we've only got a few minutes left, but I want to just double down on something that you said, which was kind of learning to say no and being open to say no. Like you talked about, if it's going to take away from my family or if it's going to do this, then I have to learn to say no. I know in my burnout journey and personal success, personal growth journey, I had a year of saying no because just like anything else, it's a skill. It's a skill to
Yeah.
set boundaries and say no, and I was very poor at that. I was just like you, Layla. I was a people pleaser through and through and just wanted to be liked by everybody, so I would suffer so that the other people would like me. So can you expand a little bit on that, saying no, setting boundaries, and your experience with that?
You did a year to say no? That even makes me want to vomit.
It was hard. It
Like,
was mostly around lectures. I basically, like, from a financial standpoint or from a time away standpoint, made a little algorithm and said, if it doesn't equal this, then the answer is no.
Wow.
so, that's super powerful. I think that's going to be my 2026 goal from now to then. Like, I'm a planner, but I still operate like I learn more. But do I have the capacity to take on this other skill? And like you said, you have to keep trying it. Like you have to keep doing it. Um, so you said, your question was like, how do you say no and
Well,
create
yeah, how
boundaries?
did you learn and how do you practice that? And how has being able to do that change your life?
So I would say the ability to learn what drains me and what fuels
Self-awareness,
me
again.
was
We're back at
empowering.
self-awareness.
Yes. So somebody said the other day where I brought inward and outward mindset. So I'm a facilitator of it now. So I brought it into our organization and I did a full in-person one. And then I'm doing a virtual one, trying to see which one works best for our organization. And someone's like, are you not exhausted? I said, this fills my cup to help others make a difference in their personal lives that will make them more effective in their professional life. And that's what I do. It is not my organization's job to make people happy. If you don't have that boundary, like, do you even know what happiness is? So I now come and operate. Do you know what happiness is in your life? And if you can't answer that, I ask you to reflect back. What do you envision happiness is? Because I will always, always not meet those expectations if you don't know it. So now when I create a boundary, is this going to deplete me for what I have to do next? And if the answer is yes, and it's going to make a big difference for my team members, I do it. If it's going to make a big difference for my family, I may or may not do it. If it's going to be a big difference for me, I will probably always put myself first. And my friends, and I turn into a pumpkin after 9 o'clock, right? Like I really do. And everyone's like, "Well, you never see us, peer pressure." And I go, peer pressure doesn't work on me anymore. I love you. And if you love me, then we're going to just operate and being friends
I
before
love
9
that.
o'clock. One of my best friends was like, "You came out, it's 9:30." I said, "Yeah, I made a choice because like I care about you. I'm going to come and do things." So I think knowing what those boundaries are means that you have to take 30 minutes to say, what does happiness look like to me this week, this month, and this year? Because if you go to the year, you're just like, well, I'll get there, right? I'll justify. That's actually what like betraying yourself is, Ingrid. Like if you justify yourself, you're just betraying your choice. So understanding your life is a
Mm.
choice. You may not like the two things given to you, but here's the thing. You can choose A, B, or you can choose to do nothing. That's the control we seek, and I know my boundaries of what I can and can't control through using inward outward mindset, sharing my story, all those other things. So it's been just super freeing to reflect back, but you have to take the time for yourself. And all of us say we don't have enough time.
Yeah, I love that. Well, I mean, this has been awesome. You've shared so much wisdom, and I can tell you've been on this journey, just how you speak and your outlook and your mindset. I think you're a huge inspiration. And also, I think there's so much negative talk in dentistry about DSOs, support organizations, multiple group practices that, like, I think you are such a great face for a DSO founder. Like, people need to see, like, you're
Oh,
a dentist,
thanks.
you're positive, you're supporting each other, you're preventative in how you think. Like, this is not the money grubbing, greed, kind of like old white guy thought that I think everybody thinks about with DSOs. So I think you're a great face for the future of what dental support is. And so, where can people find you?
I don't do a lot on social media. Again, that's a little bit about me being
Yeah.
present. So I would say apexdp.com. My cell phone is 405-414-1083.
I love it.
That's my cell phone, my personal cell phone. My email, Dr. Woman at dallasdental.com. Just know that if I don't answer you, it doesn't mean I don't like you. It just means that I'm trying to be in the moment and
Perfect.
I will come when I can. But to be honest, like everyone says, like, in order to scale, you have to be social. And I do agree, like Google, like there is reasons why you have to be on the internet because that's how people find
Yeah.
you. But I think things like what you're doing, like the happy dentist, and you're taking this and making it into something that's normalizing like normalizing business and profitability is healthy. But honestly, making sure I operate, how much do I charge myself for my
Yep.
time? Like I operate from like, oh, if this is 2 hours, it's I'm using my money to pay for me to hang out with my friends. And I've accepted business because I'm the CEO of my own life. And if I don't have money coming in, I can't do what I do well. So it's really challenging to talk about money. But I look back and say 365 days, weeks, hours, how much do I want for my time? I'll give it away freely when I can, but there's still a monetary component to it. I don't know if that answered your
No, I
question,
love
but
that.
I want to thank you too for the innovation with Pearl and what you guys are doing here. Like, I think needs to be sought from within, and people expect other people to make them happy. And it's just such a unsaid, unmet expectation when you want someone else to do that.
Yeah, well, all the hosts of this show are all big supporters of dentistry. We're passionate about it. We love this profession. We think the future is very, very bright. And so we're glad that we can do anything positive to support our colleagues and, everybody involved with this. So thanks for coming today, Layla. We appreciate you taking your time, especially because you know how much your time
Thanks for
is.
having me.
And for everybody else, if you thought this was a great episode and you need to send this to a colleague or a friend that wants to hear this, I know when, Christian or Ingrid sends me something, it goes to the top of my list. So that's what we asked from you. And we'll see you on the next episode of The Happy Dentist.